Hey family, welcome to Sergeant Dorsey Speaks. I'm a retired 20-year veteran sergeant of the Los Angeles Police Department. Having spent all 20 years in patrol and in uniform, I am not afraid to step from behind that blue wall of silence, expose police foolishness when you see it, talk about police policy, police culture, and help you understand how you might survive your next police encounter. And so today I'm going to share a story with you about a young man by the name of Jaylan Butler. Here's young Jaylan, and he is a swimmer with the Eastern Illinois University swim team. And very recently, he had been on a bus returning probably from some event with his teammates when he encountered police officers. And thankfully, there were some good white people in the group who, they would listen to, because if, it comes from a good white man or woman, then, it's more likely to be heard, and you won't wind up on the back end of an interfering or resisting arrest or obstruction of justice. You know that thing that they like to do when you ask one question too many if you look like me or Jaylan. So here's the deal. It was a Sunday night, and this happened earlier this month. And Butler, who's a member of the swim team, was coming back, headed back to the bus. They had stopped at a rest stop or something, and he, did what everybody else did, got off to stretch. And before he knew it, he was surrounded by a group of police officers. Now, what the officer said is that there was some kind of a report of a fugitive in the area that they were looking for, and this was 2 miles away from where this fugitive supposedly slipped them, and they were looking for him. And so they see Jaylan, and of course you see Jaylan. He looks like a fugitive, right? He looks like he could be, wanted for something. So they approach young Jaylan, and they put a gun to his head, and they threatened to blow it off. They threatened to blow his head off, and thankfully some of the people, his coach, his swim coach, and others who were on that very same bus had exited the bus to stretch, approached these officers. Now, these officers were from the Hampton and East Moline Police Departments, as well as there were one or two from the Rock Island Sheriff's Department. I'm assuming all of this is going on in Eastern Illinois because that's the university that he goes to. Nonetheless, these officers from the Hampton, East Moline Police Department and the Rock Island Sheriff's Department all converged on this young kid. And, they were, I'm sure, very imposing, very threatening, very aggressive with this young man. And then once they realized that, he wasn't a fugitive, he wasn't as hairy and scary as, they believe most black men to be, they had to release him. They released him after this brief interaction, and then, probably sent him on his way with an apology. So I don't know what the family's going to do. My hope, as always, is, when police officers, they only understand one thing, and so you just need to have them open up that wallet, get out that checkbook, and start, filling in a bunch of zeros for you. I don't know if this young man is in pursuit of any kind of a financial redress. I hope that he is. But here again, sure, his family had to talk with him, even though he was doing everything that they were asking him to do. My favorite, he was complying. He may complain later. He survived that police encounter. And so I guess there's a silver lining. And that's what I want to share with you, that, I can't always guarantee you, because I don't know who's going to stop you. Don't know if there's going to be anybody in that group of officers that has some sense. If you have an opportunity, request a supervisor, as young Devin Myers did. You saw that video that I shared with you earlier over in Michigan. Requested a supervisor. Supervisor showed up after he was detained because Devin had scared some white woman. She thought he looked suspicious, a black man out in public. Supervisor showed up. Now, he wasn't much better, but he did allow young Devin to go on about his way. Supervisor was ultimately disciplined and retrained, is what they said. Don't know what happened, if anything, to these officers, but thankfully young Jaylan survived that encounter. And so, family, that is what I want you to do as well. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you have not already, stop by and subscribed, liked, shared, told a friend about Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey on Instagram. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sergeant Dorsey Speaks. I have a podcast also, Sergeant Dorsey Speaks, where you can hear information very different from what you hear on my Instagram, very different from what I put up on my YouTube channel, understanding that not everybody is everywhere. I got folks on Facebook who won't do Instagram. I got folks on YouTube who won't do Twitter. So I try to share this information, stories of police encounters. I wish I had some good ones, but I guess it's good if you survive, right? I want you to see examples of what happens, what goes wrong, and I want you to be looking for those red flags because listen, I believe, family, that there's always red flags when the police stop you. One of them, and let me just share this real quick with you, one of them is this. If you are being detained by a group of police officers and you see them starting to put on black leather gloves as they're yelling commands at you and wondering why you're not cooperating, why you're not complying, that's a red flag. We don't do surgery. We're not medical professionals. There's really only one reason why police officers put on black leather gloves, and that's because they're about to touch you. They're about to put hands on you. So when you see something like that happen, if you see an officer begin to get a little agitated, a little amped up, when you see an officer start asking for additional units, it's probably because he wants some more hands to put on you. Just be quiet. Just get quiet, be observant. If you got a phone with you and you don't have to telegraph that you're alerting others to your location, just call them and leave the phone open. Comply and complain. Survive the encounter. That's it for now, family. Thank you. And for more, visit my website, sgtdorseyspeaks.com. Support my mission, survive police encounters, by visiting Venmo and CashApp, Sergeant Dorsey Speaks. Or you can purchase my autobiography, Black and Blue, The Creation of a Social Advocate, at sgtdorseyspeaks.com. Until next time, be good, be safe.